Apologize for that. We lost 8 minutes at the beginning.
Well, we didn't say a whole lot, so.
No, this is really just setup, right? This is the ideal. These are the things that we want to do. This is how we all want to look, right?
What I'm struggling with is that that's all great.
Mm-hmm.
We know. We know what good skiing looks like. We have the various tools, whether it's an Alpine manual, whether it's a guide, whether it's our colleagues. But how do we translate that to an effective lesson?
Yeah.
What is the thing that we have to do to set up the learning experience? How do they pick up what we're putting down? And
Well,
that's
hopefully we're not teaching Tom Gelly, right?
no, we're not. But what are the things that we do? What are the things that we need to do? Not what are the things we do. What are the things we need to do to have an effective lesson? And that's kind of what I would like to get out of these next few sessions is okay, Joanne, what is it that you do in this particular situation? Or Marin, what is it that you do in this particular situation? How did you set up your lesson so that an outcome was achieved, even if it was a small outcome, like they started to feel their edges?
Mm-hmm.
That's
Well, you're
And
talking
why?
about the prescription for change.
Well, the
what
prescription.
it can't be it can't be prescriptive. That's the thing. It cannot be prescriptive. It's how because studies have shown that the best retention, the best learning occurs when they experience it themselves, and the change is an internal change. So I can tell you, oh, you need to have your whatever. You need to drip snot on your you
Right.
need to be balancing on your outside ski. But if I say, hey, have you ever had a runny nose when you ski? Well, everybody sticks up their hand. Okay, now I want you to drip your snot on your downhill ski as you're in your traverse, as you're going across the hill. Okay, so everybody knows that. But what are some of the things beyond that, particularly at a level three, that we can use to have an effective lesson?
Cool. So you kind of touched on the one key ingredient there. We have to teach two sensations. And the idea that we have this cue that allows us to have snot on the outside ski, right? That is just a cue, but the cue needs to be used in a way that allows them to feel what they need to be feeling.
And I like where this is going because it leads to cause and effect. If we
It's
can,
the cause and
yeah,
effect, right?
yeah, for
That's that.
that's what I would love to focus on, cause and effect, and in the movement analysis of intermediate skiers. I mean, this is great skiing, and it's lovely to know the ideal, but the intention I think for AJ is going, and I think I'm behind you on that to find out, what's the cause and the fact that we can get the guests to experience and feel so that they can have that aha moment
Cool.
or
Good.
to increase
I know
their
where we're going with
performance.
this. All right, so this is gonna make this easier. So we're all on the same page then. We want to transition. How many of you think that movement analysis happens just once? Sorry, right? Every time they move, what's the first thing you're doing? Did we institute a change? What was a change that was instituted? Is it getting us down that path closer to what I'd like them to be doing? Right? So we're always doing movement analysis every time they move, right? And we're trying to figure out how we can get them to feel the change. What are the sensations that they're going to be feeling when they get this done? And
Well,
really focus on those pieces. Go ahead, Rebecca.
okay, so with the different learning styles, I know we want them to feel it, but then not everybody is a feeler, and we also need for them to maybe understand.
They have to be able to understand it. Yeah. So now we're really getting into the multi pronged approach, right? So not only do they have to be, I would like them to be able to feel it, right? Because sensations are things that they're going to be feeling inside their own boots, or the ski's going to be pushing in a particular way, or their body's going to align in a particular way, and they can feel that pinch in their hip, or whatever it is that I'm trying to get them to understand. But we also have to tie that back to, why are we doing what we're doing? Why is this important? Because if we don't know why we're doing it, we don't care. And what's the first thing the skier is going to do when they come down at the bottom? A, they're going to pocket your tip, right? Which is how I decide whether I was good or not that day. I'm not going to get a tip means I wasn't very good. And B, they're going to immediately forget about you. Everything that you worked on is gone, gone, forgotten, doesn't matter. And it's almost like the lesson never happened.
So
So
what we're
we have
really
to be able to
talking
build
about
understanding.
is, how do we encourage self-coaching or self-teaching?
Yeah, well, that's a very interesting question. How do we do that?
Well, I think one of the things that's important, and I can't say I'm particularly good at it, is I can look at a student and say I know what they need and I can tell them what they need, but they need to be motivated to make that change. They have to have that, you have to have that conversation with them that says, what do you want to do today? Well, I want to be a better skier. And it's got to be more specific than that, right? It's like they need to have their motivation to want to make the change that they need to make, and how to make that connection. I think that's a real challenge.
Yeah,
Well, but part of our task is to get the buy-in, so that in a way, what we want, in order to accomplish that, we have to get them to see, understand that what we think, what our goal is their goal. Does that
we
make
need them to buy into we would like them to buy into our goal, right? But how important is our goal compared to their goal?
Well, we kind of have to make them somewhere feel that whatever it is that we're doing is because we're trying to accomplish their goals.
Right. We want to be able to accomplish their goal. Their goal is to make a change, and they'll give you a reason why. And we got to figure out how to get that done. I think the big problem that a lot of instructors have is that I've got all of this knowledge and I need you to just understand. But that's not how it really works, because they have to be motivated to take the information that you have. And you have to do it in ways that are kind of sneaky sometimes, right?
Well,
I
I
have a
remember,
goal. I need you to stand on the outside ski, but maybe that's not what you need to be doing. That's not what you're trying to indicate that you want to do. So maybe I set up the task in a way that's constrained, that allows them to stand on the outside ski sooner, so that they get the feeling that I want them to have, and the control that they really want to have, and accomplish the goal that they're getting at the same time. So we're always we have to meet them where they need to be met, right?
I remember way back when someone said, "Oh, well, the way to really improve is get a private lesson." I got a private lesson at Vail, and this guy spent the whole private lesson showing me what a wonderful skier he is. And I just kind of felt like, screw this. I want you to show me how do I improve.
Well, the simple answer is there, right? For the instructor. Rebecca, I don't need you to ski like you anymore. That's the problem. You ski like you. I need you to ski more like me. And unfortunately, there are instructors that are like that out there. They're not all like trying to make you better. They're more interested sometimes in their own selves. So we have to understand that the guests' goals are very, very, very important. And if we don't have the guest goals in the front of our minds, it does not matter what we do. We're not going to get their attention. And that is, if we lose their attention, it's kind of over, right? Your tip just disappeared, and the lesson is like it never even happened. They have forgotten everything. you have done. So I'm liking where this is going. I have given you guys a background of this person, right? So the interview is not just what would you like to do? What do you want to get out of this? I won't, what you're really asking them about also what their background is, this is all CAP model stuff, right? For those of you who have done the children's thing, it's all CAP model. We're not only are we looking at them in terms of their own skiing, but what their understanding is and how they feel that day, what's giving them problems, and how can we give them the confidence that they need later on, right? And so we're looking at the CAP model in terms of with adults just as much as we are with the kids. It's just that kids are more environmentally and developmentally sensitive, so we have all these changes that are happening, and we can have them all happening in the same group. With adults, it's maybe a little bit narrowed, but we still have the look that we still got to look at them in terms of what they know and how they process information and all of those things. We have to be able to use that too. So I have given you guys a description. And what did I do? The first thing I did was go ahead and put it into there we go. All right. Nope, wrong one. Here we go. All right, so the description at 34, Emily, a software sales engineer from Boston, Massachusetts. Hey, I made it somebody East Coast this time. Only skied recreationally, but now finds herself struggling in steeps, trees, and especially moguls. While her friends have tried to teach her, the advice that she often left her more confused and frustrated, causing her to ski to a plateau. With her kids and peers progressing quickly, Emily is motivated to take a professional lesson to improve her technique and confidence. She is analytical by nature, detail-oriented in her career, and is eager to understand why behind the movement patterns. Her primary goal is to build consistency and control in the bumps so that she can ski more challenging terrain with confidence and flow.
So respectfully to Emily, steeps, trees, bumps, moguls, I think we need to take those off her menu right now.
What? What's the matter with you?
and give her some confidence and put her on some terrain that we can kind of start with the basics there.
So
if you will.
you've cheated, right? You've already seen her ski, right?
Oh yeah.
This is all information that I've gathered on the first lift up.
Oh, I'm
Well,
sorry.
I'm taking
Okay.
her at her word that she's actually can ski and
Okay.
has done bumps and blah 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 blah, right? But I've also experienced enough to know that first turn tells me everything I need to know about them. And I'm not going to be taking a left off the top of the gondola and going straight to to outhouse. Right? I'm going to take her down, mock turtle or, something really easy that first time so I can get a look at her before I decide whether we're going to go to the blue run or we're going to go to the green run, right? And then as soon as I see that first turn, I instantly go, okay, now I know where we're at, right? But we have understood, so there's some really great information in this little interview that we did, right? So one of the things is that she's confused and frustrated. And why do you think she's confused and frustrated?
Her
She can't
friends.
keep up.
Her friends. Well, she can't keep up. She's probably got kids in ski school, all being taught by me, which means they're already doing outhouse. And they're like, come on, Mom, let's go do outhouse. She's looking down that and going, yeah, no. Right? But she's frustrated because remember, she's a detail-oriented person in her job. She's probably really smart, and she really wants to understand the mechanics of why she's doing what she does. And do you think her friends and family are giving her that? No, it's more like, I need you to ski less like you and more like me, probably, right?
Or
Which
do
is, you
this,
know,
do that, but not with any specific details.
well, I mean, the question's always going to come up. Why am I doing what I'm doing? And then you should be ready to answer that question at any time in the lesson, even at the very, very beginning. Why am I doing what I'm doing? Well, you're doing it probably because the information that you've been given is not correct, or you haven't completely understood what is involved, right? Or maybe we need to apply what you know in a different way. And we need to kind of round this all out so that we understand from our own movement patterns what we're trying to achieve. Who is the number one obstacle in your learning? Right? Number one obstacle in my learning is me. I need to figure out how to get out of my own way sometimes.
So I would like to ask her, with all the information that you gleaned on your chairlift ride, and she skied for a while, I would, just to understand her understanding and where she is Emily, what do you think you need the most? What do you think would help you the most? And
Cool.
see what kind of answer you get.
Absolutely. Absolutely. What are you doing with that?
Right.
What are you trying to do with that, Scott? What are you trying to get out of that?
So if she comes up and says, I don't know what she's going to say. I mean, so it's just going to give me a place to go. She might say, I can't go fast enough, or I'm afraid of this, or when I hit ice, I fall, or I don't know what she's going to tell me, but
Right.
it's just going to give me a place to go, because I want her to figure it out with me.
Yeah.
I don't want to be telling, and that's one of my challenges. Because I can tell them everything, and I probably do that too much,
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
have her figure it out as much as I do.
Yeah. You're basically probing the depth of the knowledge that she has, right?
Yeah.
And the other thing is you're starting to create that common language that allows me, okay, I know now what she's talking about. Hey, I really struggle in the bumps. I just really can't get a good foothold in them. I really struggle in there. I always feel like I'm falling down. And you're painting a picture in your head about what you're actually seeing before you even actually see it. And, these are notable movement patterns that we've all experienced and seen before. And now you're like, okay, cool. I'm going to use her language against her or with her. And that's creating that two-way street. And now she's thinking about her own skiing. She's not thinking about what you're trying to teach. She's thinking in depth about what she's trying to do. Right? And now we could say, okay, hey, that hasn't worked very well. Right? And here are the reasons why it doesn't work very well. But you got the mechanics kind of down. Let's massage them in this way. Let's go over here and let's try this drill or this drill or this drill. Right? And now we're starting to build that thing. But the interview for me is vitally important. I need to know who you are. I need to know what you're thinking. I need to know kind of what your background is. And that's the question I ask all the time. Hey, what do you want to get out of today? What is the thing that's giving you the most trouble? Hey, I really struggle in the trees. They come too fast. Okay, cool. Is it the trees themselves, or it's kind of the way your skis are skiing? I just don't. I just don't feel like I'm getting any grip in there, and the skis and the trees come really, really fast. Cool. That just tells me right off the bat, we're probably not going to do trees right off the bat, right? Because I don't want to lose anybody to trees. But it paints me a picture of why would she be losing her control in the skis into trees, and she's also starting to think of, hey, what is the reason why I'm doing this myself? She's already starting to probe her own thoughts. Any questions on any of that before we actually see poor Emily ski?
Well, I think also we're talking about somebody that's analytic.
Yeah.
We're dealing with somebody that is more of a visual or a kinesthetic. I think our approach would be different.
It would be. Well, except that 95% of it's learned by vision. So we do what we see, and we see what we do. So I'm not gonna lie to you. Kolb's is very, very important to me. I love his learning cycle, but we learn a lot by visually watching somebody, right? I mean, what's the number one thing we do with kids, right? Here I'm gonna watch me what I do and then do what I do. It's the simplest lesson in the world with kids. Hey, come try this. Or with adults, I've used this very successfully at a bump clinic. Hey, what am I doing? And I'm gonna ski a few of these bumps, and you guys tell me what I'm doing.
Chuck, is
You
it
know
worth-
what Scott said earlier about I want to hear what she has to say, and then what you said, marrying that with what you said, which is her first turn off the getting off the lift, you're going to know that she doesn't belong in the trees, the bumps, the steeps,
Right.
and blah blah blah. I think this is probably one of the most important aspects of teaching, which is the people skill of bringing
Yes.
your student to their awareness, to being
Yes.
aware of really where they are politely, if you will,
Yes.
politically correct, or
Yeah.
without squashing them, if you will, either.
Yeah.
Also,
Exactly.
you can make them. You can also do the opposite in that exercise, and make them feel so I really shouldn't even be in those places. That's why I'm frustrated. That's why I'm falling down in the bumps. That's why I'm going too fast in the trees, because I'm not ready for those yet.
Could be.
And I've been made to think that I am, and I'm just no good at it.
Dion has raised her hand. Go ahead, Dion.
I was just going to say, it's as we are centered our lessons around what the people want. That is the end goal. It is not just, well, I don't think you should be there, but it's finding then bits and pieces to take them where they do want to go, which part of that is knowing your mountain, right? All of us have parts of our mountain that might have moguls or might have really wide space trees that are very low pitched and easily navigated, which could be considerably different than where some of her friends might be taking her. We all have parts of our mountain that look steep, but have more than one way to navigate them because it's got a big side hill. So you've got a way to slow yourself down. There's things like side slipping that you can teach someone for when they're over their head on steeps and trees. So they don't have to make a turn. They can just side slip their way down. Lots of snowboarders do it anyway. They push all the snow out of the way, so you might as well just follow them. So
Scrapers.
being aware that in the conversation saying, oh, we shouldn't go there, no matter how tactful you are when you say that, your lesson will be unsuccessful.
Well,
I would like to work with Emily and try to get her into some bumps. It may take all day, and it might be the last run we do.
It might,
Mhm.
and that's fine. But it's recognizing that they took this lesson for a very specific reason. In her interview, the reason she's taking this lesson, well, Emily's probably got a competitive side because her kids and her friends are all getting better than her, and she didn't like it.
Yeah.
So it's not just, oh, I want to ski with my friends. It's no, everyone's getting better than me. So be
Amen.
aware that
Yeah.
that is really important to Emily. And so it's not just for her about doing it right. You're going to have to find some terrain where you can investigate stuff in a safe way or give her tools to navigate it in a different way so that she can feel successful. That is not saying that you're going to get her skiing and ripping down bumps and trees like nobody's business and completely comfortable on steeps. But if you can make her even 10% more comfortable on steeps, That means you have to go test it on a steep. And
100%.
what we may consider steeps may not be what her or her friends are considering steeps. For all we know, what they're considering steeps is a steep blue run. Not necessarily the cirque or hike to terrain.
Yeah, exactly. Tom, you had your hand up.
Yeah, so I think after I'd skied down with this student and watched her a bit and gotten this history that she's been taught by her friends, I think I'd ask her, like, what tips were your friends giving you? How did they tell you how to make a turn and to control your speed? Because maybe she's gotten some wrong tips in the past, or maybe we can kind of go forward from where they left off, kind of thing. So I think it's kind of interesting to know what their knowledge base is as well as their physical ability.
I think that's important too, Tom. I really do believe that, we have this mom thing, we have motivation, understanding, and movement, and they might be telling her to do something without any of the understanding piece, right? And she's frustrated because they're telling you need to, stand more on the outside ski. Well, why? Why do you have to stand on the outside ski? How do I stand on the outside ski? Why is it important for me to do that in bumps? And they don't have answers, right? They're
Oh,
not
I thought you just pushed
poorly
on that
paid
outside
instructors,
ski.
huh?
I thought you just pushed as hard as you could on that outside ski.
Well, sure. Sure. And that's kind of what she's doing, right? But we haven't watched her ski yet. But anyway, the point is that there is a disconnect between what she's hearing and what she understands. And that's where the frustration and the anger comes from. And the fact that Gumby's got her kids out there doing outhouse, right? That's also making her angry. So we have to be conscious of this. We have to be able to fulfill all these pieces. We have to do the motivation part. We have to do the movement. What is the change that we're making? And we have to get them to understand why we're making this change. Otherwise, like I said, my tip disappears and it's like the lesson never happened. They just paid $1,100 for me for the day. I don't think that would be very cool. All right. Any other questions on this one? We've kind of laid the groundwork. Now we're going to go right into the objective part.
Can I make a quick comment?
Yeah, go ahead, JJ.
Yeah. So, I don't know where you ski out of, but in the East, there is an examiner, Angelo Ross. I know Marin knows him.
Yeah, Angelo. Yeah.
So Angelo's now head of education.
Yeah, he's got the podcast.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
and Angelo and what's his face was one of my examiners. Anyway,
Kaplan.
Exactly.
David
Yeah.
Kaplan.
yeah,
Yeah.
Capron. Angelo, I took a high-end teaching clinic with Angelo a couple of years ago, and Angelo gave this great tip. He said, "You know what I do my first run? I do a system check. Either my first run or my first two runs. The first run, all I say to the people is, I want you to ski whatever, halfway down, all the way down, and just think about how you feel psychologically. Then the second run, he does it. Now I want you to think how you feel physically. That's all he says. And then they talk about it, because some people may have boots that don't fit. Some may have been trying to drag their kids to lessons and are angry now because the kids weren't listening. It gets people into, and I've used it and it works great. It gets people into, okay, why am I not skiing well? It may be because nothing to do with anything. It may be because my kids are pissing me off in the morning because they weren't listening to me get dressed when I told them to get dressed. So just a little tip that
Yeah.
I think I'd like to pass on from Angelo.
Yeah. You got to
Yeah.
give them a little space too.
By the way, if we talk about Angelo, he has a webinar about teaching seniors to ski, and he talks a lot about the CAP model used for seniors.
Yeah.
So-
I'm actually an SS1 myself, so we talked a lot about the cat. It's just like children's specialists, except for seniors, and you talk about it. Mostly, it's around On the cognitive side, everybody is an expert in at least something in their lives. And the effective is they really like mostly older adults like to ski with lots of other older adults. And on the physical side, injuries are everything. All right. We all have injuries. So the CAP model works very effectively in all levels of people. That's why I like to use a CAP model as much as possible, even when I'm talking about adults. Doesn't matter whether they're 13, 23, or 63. They're all going to be in there and somewhere. So, all right, you guys ready?
Yep.
Here's our video victim. Here's poor Emily. Emily's skiing on a mostly groomed run, probably late today. Looks like it's a blue run. Probably a little granular underneath, but mostly packed powder.
Is that Ovation, Rebecca?
Are you kidding me?
I'm joking.
Hey, now we can't call each other out like that.
At least make it obvious that she's from New Zealand.
I just got to cover up the NZ part of it. And I can't really say whether this was in New Zealand or not.
But it looks like a sort of either green or light blue terrain. That doesn't look very, very steep.
It doesn't look very steep. I'm going to say I think it's probably blue terrain, judging by the snowboarder who appears right there, who really throws the brakes on.
And it's wide.
Or as we like to call these, this would be a Breckenridge Black.
Whoa, 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 whoa.
No, don't worry. Trust me, this would be a Breckenridge Black. It's too ungroomed. All right, cool. So, anybody want to do an MA? Or are you going to make me do it first?
I'll start.
All right, cool. So, this is just the objective part. What the skis are doing, what the body's doing,
Right.
what we'd like to see the ski and the body do, and how we can get them from there to there. Cool? Go.
Okay. So I see the skis are turning. They're not turning sequentially, right? They're not turning together. They're kind of like, and they're turning very quick.
They're not turning sequentially?
Yeah, they're not. I'm sorry, simultaneously.
Simultaneously. Cool.
Yeah. So they're not turning simultaneously, and they're turning very, very quick. It looks like the reason they're turning quick is because she's using a lot of upper body rotation.
Cool.
And it also seems that you see how they're just kind of sliding out. So that whereas we would stop and say, okay, pressure on the foot, a little edging and then turn, that concept is not present in her at all.
Okay.
So I don't want to jump ahead, but if I was jumping ahead, then it might be that.
Give me the ideal first. What would you like to see ideally?
So ideally, I would like to see her shift her weight to what's going to become her outside ski, and then get some kind of edge on that ski, and then she can determine how to turn both skis together.
So we've kind of jumped a couple of lanes there. So you started out in rotation. You're going for L3, right?
Yeah, I'm kind of. I want to look at two. I want to look at two.
Let's pick two and stick to those.
Two fundamentals.
Yeah.
So one fundamental is I want to look at edging and I want to look at rotation.
Edging and what else?
And rotation.
And rotation, cool.
Right. And so edging is not happening because there's very little edging because there's very little angulation going on. And the other thing is, in terms of rotation, it's coming from the upper body. So therefore, that's going to make her skis go much quicker. I mean, they're snapping at the end, and from the shaping part of the turn, at the end of part of the turn, to kind of stop a little bit, and then that's what's happening. So if she were to get into change the pressure, I know I'm kind of throwing things.
Don't go to pressure. You're on edging and rotation. So
Okay.
let's just and pick one of those and describe what you'd like to see first.
Well, ideally, if she would right now,
Okay.
at that moment, it was that moment right there, right? If she would move her ankles, move her knees over the skis and her hips kind of over the skis, then she'd be holding on to things. She'd be holding on to the snow a little bit, and her skis would begin to turn more gently together, and then she could determine from her toes, for using her femurs, to actually turn the tips of her skis as she would want to sharpen it, her turn.
Okay. So how are they related? Trust, I'm not gonna beat you up too much. So
Yeah.
it's too early in the year for that.
Totally fine. So yeah, I mean,
Dion, just settle down. We'll be with you in a minute.
yeah, I mean, because she's just kind of twisting herself around from the top, right? In order to basically stop, it's like right now, it's almost
Right.
like she's trying to do a hockey stop.
Sure.
She can't do a hockey stop because she has no edge on her. So she's just sliding it out, and then she's going a little further, and she's trying to do it again, kind of like as a jerking motion.
Yeah, it's a Z-shaped turn, right?
Yeah. So
Yeah.
if she would tip her ankles, her knees, and her hips, just a little bit, and not even a lot in this case. If she would just do that a little bit to kind of transfer her center of mass over her skis, if she would do that, she would be a little on edge, and her skis naturally would flow over into a turn. So that's what I would that's what I explained to her, and then I would demonstrate.
So I have some questions for you to help you kind of clarify.
Okay.
How is she getting edging now?
She's jumping now. At that moment, she has the awareness to put the pressure on her downhill ski. So she's pushing her ski out, and by pushing it out,
She's pushing which ski out?
She's pushing her out. It's her outside ski, but it's
She's pushing her outside ski to do what?
To kind of stop and turn the way she wants to turn.
Well, she's not. How is she getting on edge? She's pushing the ski out to what?
To get on a higher edge angle.
To get on a higher edge angle.
Yeah, that's
She's
right.
creating edge by pushing the ski out.
Right.
Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Yeah. So that's how and then she's inclining in the bottom half of the turn. Because she doesn't really incline up here, right? She's still resisting the old one.
Yeah.
So the initiation is literally for her on the edging piece is pushing the outside ski out. She's not really, and I'm going to bring pressure into this only for an illustrative purpose, right? She's still standing on the old outside ski right here. This is the initiation piece, right?
Yeah.
Oh, gotta go back. Oh, wrong way. Oh, come on. Gotta get back on the video here. Oh, no. So right there, she's getting ready to make the next turn, right? And she's standing on, she's got high edge angles. Both skis are edged about the same at the end of the turn. But when she starts to move to the new turn, there's the initiation. You know it's the initiation because there go the shoulders. And with the shoulders, which ski has she got the most pressure on right now?
It looks
Inside ski.
It's still the inside ski. Because she's literally moving the outside ski out to put it on edge.
Chuck, go back about 5, 6 frames on the initiation. Watch her inside ski. Keep going backwards. Keep
Yeah.
going. Okay, now let it run slowly. Watch her inside foot. Watch the initiation. You can see her actually stepping hard right there on that inside ski to throw her upper body down the hill.
She still hasn't stood on a new outside ski. She still hasn't stood on a new outside
No,
ski.
no.
She still hasn't stood on a new outside ski. Finally, she's starting to commit to the outside ski because she now has a platform to stand on created through that edge. But now look at her body position.
Yeah,
So where is the angles coming from?
yeah, it's coming from the extension of her outside ski, but
That's at the initiation and the shaping, but
Yeah.
now it's all inclination.
yeah.
Yeah, there's no angles being built. Cool.
Isn't
that's
her
the edge of it.
inclination more up the hill though than into the turn?
Well, it's still banking, right? I'm going to
Okay,
call it inclination because we're talking about edging,
okay.
but in this case, it's no different than banking.
But banking is the word we use for when we're talking about what fundamental?
Ski to ski pressure.
Ski to ski, okay. But it's really the same thing.
It's the same thing. She's
Okay.
not creating she has a little bit of a long leg, short leg situation here, but not in a way that I would like to see her doing it. Right? She has the inside leg is slightly bent more than the outside leg. But that outside leg is literally stood on. I mean, she is not flexing anything on that leg. Does that make sense to you, Rabbi?
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Yeah, there it is again.
There it is.
She's still standing on the inside leg, and she's just literally moving the outside leg away to get an edge. And then when she feels it, then she stands on it. And it's really, really fast. Whoop, there it is. Done.
Yeah.
It's a stem Christie.
Yep.
Right? It's a stem Christie with a lot of upper body movement.
Yeah, maybe she's not aware of pressure control or flexion, ankle flexion.
Cool. So now we're getting into prioritization, right? Because, I mean, when the first question I ask with this particular person, is she in a defensive or offensive skiing?
Defensive.
Very good.
Right? This speaks to intent. So we've looked at the first thing that stands out. Obviously, the upper body movement is the first thing that stands out. And then we ask the question, why? Why is that the big thing? Okay, and we could go in lots of different directions for that, right? I think it's a pressure-related piece, but I'm not going to speak to that right now.
Would
And
you
the next
start with
question I
her
have
with
is-
pressure?
Huh?
Would you, like when you're looking at her, would you start and say, pressure, let's work on pressure or ski to ski pressure or fore aft? Would you deal with that as the first remedy?
Maybe. But let's go ahead and go through this part about intent first, right? Because we have an offensive, Tom Gelly's really good at offensive skiing. He moves with the skis, right? And he drives the skis where he wants to go. What kind of skiing is this?
Defensive.
It's incredibly
Riding the
defensive,
hill.
right? Right? And the reason why is because that's what she knows how to do to slow down. She doesn't want to go as fast as Tom Gelly does, especially in the bumps, right? That would be very terrifying for her, right?
But she's controlling her speed. This is maybe positive feedback.
Yes, yes. Now we're already organizing thoughts in our head about. We now know why she's struggling to be in the bumps. Because not only is she not very good at the pressure piece and the rotational piece and the edging piece and the ski to ski pressure piece, but now deplatforming her in the bumps, making her have to adjust is she's on pretty smooth snow now. When we put bumps underneath her, all of that's going to go out the window. So we need to find one or two key pieces that are going to allow us to make her more successful in the bumps, because that's what's driving her today. And I don't have no problem where you went, Rabbi. I have no problem if you want to do rotation and edging. Those were key pieces to me. What I really wanted to point out is that how she gets an edge is really kind of important, because that's not going to work very well in bumps, because if she moves her ski away from her this way, what happens if there's nothing there?
Right.
Right? That's going to be very unsafe. We need her to move both skis out there, not one ski. Cool. So now we can look at prioritization. I mean, what do you guys think are the... Dion, did you want to speak to something? I didn't want to ignore you.
No, I was actually just going to ask some questions for clarification.
Yeah, go ahead.
But you already asked most of them.
Oh, okay.
Probably kinder than I would have. The only question that's still, I think, in the MA piece that would need to be answered before that would be like a successful MA is how the two are related.
Yeah.
How is the rotary and the edging in this skier related? Because this is what the most common intermediate skier movement pattern.
Yeah, especially the ones we see on our blue runs all the time, right? So, real quickly, Rabbi, what is the relationship between edging and rotation? And since you picked rotation first, you can go rotation to edging.
Okay. So the rotation is, if you are trying to spin around without having an edge on it, she wants to turn, but she doesn't have an edge.
Mm-hmm.
So that's what's causing this very Z-shaped turn.
Sure.
And that's also the only way for, because she doesn't have the edge, and the way she can get an edge is by extending her outside ski.
And
therefore,
and
therefore she has a very inefficient turn, and the skis are moving, they are not moving simultaneously. So
very close. Because when she does extend out, what happens to the ski, outside ski? It rotates faster.
She does a stem Christie.
She's doing a stem Christie. She's literally rotating to an edge. Right?
That's what that is. Okay.
She's literally rotating. She's not only is she moving the ski out, but she's rotating it to a pie shape, pizza shape, and then finding that edge before she can stand on it. Okay? So we call that rotating to an edge. And it works in both ways, right? She doesn't have an edge, so she tries to figure out how to rotate to it. Right? Because the outside ski is flat and doesn't have much pressure on it. So she moves it out in order to find that edge.
So the description term is rotating to an edge, as opposed to she's shoving her outside ski.
The mechanics are is that she's moving the ski away from her center line in order to find an edge.
Okay.
And as she's doing it, she's rotating that outside ski.
It's the only leg turning she has.
Typically, probably because the inside ski or the outside ski's tip is heavier than the inside ski tip, and it allows her to move the tip or the tail away easier. And frankly, it's better because it shortens the turn for her, right? She doesn't have to go across the hill trying to stand on the uphill ski. That doesn't feel safe to her. Cool.
So I was just gonna add to Gumby's description there about how the two are linked in a technical way. And I'll talk about it from like rotary to edging. When I rotate, the amount that she is rotating, which is a considerable amount, it moves me inside, up the hill, and back, just because I'm spinning my center of mass.
Which
That
is
leaves me in an inclined position, but because the pivot starts first, that's why the skis are then late in creating an edge. So it's ineffective for her to create edging movements from behind and inside her skis in a biomechanical sense. So it's chicken egg. If this is the only way you know to edge your skis, you're going to rotate. And if rotating is the only way you know to turn, this is how you will edge your skis. Those two things, they're really biomechanically linked in how the edging and the rotary will occur, because doing one puts you in an ineffective position to do the other in a more ideal way.
By the way, hence the common thread. Upper body stability promotes lower body mobility, right? Oh, there's Alex Pomfret. What's going on, buddy?
Not too much.
Did you just get off the hill or are you just getting on the hill?
Yeah, we have zero. There was so none of the chairs were operating, and absolutely no lessons are going on right now. So
no lessons on a Sunday or a Monday there, isn't it?
Yeah. It's just end of the season, so hanging in there.
Cool. Dion, I'll have to talk to you later. He had a very interesting question about what you were talking about. He watched your webinar from a few weeks ago, and he had some pretty good questions on that one. So we may have to share. Anyway.
Awesome. If he wants to hang around after and you're willing to run the meeting long, I'll try and answer him.
Oh yeah, we'll, I always like to try to talk about skiing. It's my favorite subject besides me.
Come on, they released opening dates for all the big mountains here in Colorado. We don't have long, Gumby. We don't even have 6 weeks.
I know. And it really frustrates me because Kat's down there in South America right now, skiing with some big mountain group. That's just mean.
I know. And she's showing skiing shots and it's just mean.
It's just mean. All right, so back to the topic at hand. We have now. That was a descriptive, right? So we did the objective part. Okay? And the objective part is clearly defined by the exam. You shall do ski to ski pressure now, right? And we just do a quick ski to ski pressure. You will do rotation and fore aft, and we will do rotation and fore aft. Doesn't matter who it is, right? But now we get to prioritize. And prioritize moves from the objective part over here to the what do I know? What do I need to do? What are the goals of the student? What are the goals and the understanding of the student and the motivations that they have and the current movement patterns that they're using to get them to achieve what they want to achieve. And this is where it gets to be more of the teaching part. And we can look at this, so, okay, we did a quick movement analysis. Were these the pieces and parts that we really needed to tackle in order to make this student better? Or are there other things that we're seeing that will probably take a higher priority? Does that make sense?
Well, yes, but to go back to the beginning of when you first started talking to Emily on the lift before you saw her ski, and now we've all seen her ski and we've done a movement analysis on her. how do we marry the student, the customer, or, the one who's providing the tip? How
Right.
do we provide her what she said she wants with what we see on the hill there?
Yeah, so we're definitely not going to take her right into bump skiing like this, are we?
I'm not.
Because it wouldn't, she's very defensive. The only way she knows to slow down is to throw her ski sideways. They have to be done very quickly. And we have some movement patterns that are, this idea of moving the ski out to an edge before we stand on it, then all that happens at the bottom of the turn, is not going to be a whole lot of fun in the bumps because she's going to be in the air half the time, right? And we don't want her to do that. We want her to be balanced, and we want her to be able to grip early. Because where's all the grip happening with poor Emily? Grip being the fifth fundamental, right?
It's just at the end. The
Yeah,
end of
it's literally in the finish phase.
Yeah.
I mean, you could argue in a way that it's happening a little bit in the shaping, but I mean, Paquita, it's right at the end. It's all happening, and what did you call this? It was a series of hockey stops, right? It's literally a series of hockey stops. So we got to figure out how to move that grip up higher in the turn before we can feel like we can be successfully taking her into the bumps. And not all the way at the top, right? She's not Tom Gelly. We're not going to get that accomplished today. But getting it closer to maybe the apex or a little bit before the apex would be awesome in the bumps, because that allows her to maybe take the blue line and get a little grip on the opposite bump before she starts to go across the hill again. Okay? But the key piece to all that is we got to get her balanced over the skis, and this is not balanced over the feet. And this is why I was saying, okay, we got the objective part out of the way, but the subjective part tells me right off the bat that if she doesn't have closed ankles, nothing that we do is going to help her, right? And I'm looking at the open ankles right now, and the fact that the knees are bent, and she's basically standing straight up, and the skis are bending from the back almost entirely throughout the entire turn, that her ability to be balanced over the skis when they start going like this is going to be a problem, because they're just going to go like this. Does that make sense?
Mm-hmm.
And I don't want them to go like this. I want them to go up and over the bumps like this. So we got to get her balanced on her skis. And the good thing is we have the handy dandy, wonderful IDP. And the IDP has, but this is the one thing that I don't like about the new IDP, because the old IDP used to actually have descriptions of what it was for. Hold on. Laura, go ahead.
Okay, so it sounded like your first priority for her would be fore aft.
Yes.
So my first priority for her would have been upper body rotation. But you don't think we'll be able to solve that until we get her?
So the
more
question
forward.
I'm going to ask you is, why is she using upper body rotation?
Because I don't think she understands that you turn your skis with your legs.
How can she turn her legs or skis with her legs if she's back?
Right. If all of her weight is on the back of her skis and they're bending from the back, she's not going to be able to turn her skis with her legs.
No.
Okay.
So it's a chicken and egg thing, right? We have to be able to be balanced over our skis or over our feet,
Okay.
so that we can disengage our thighs and our working muscles, our thighs and our glutes, that allow us to do this.
Okay.
Okay.
So
Now-
first we've got to get her ankles bent
Mhm.
and we've got to get a little more flex in her hips. So she's got a little more of a lightning bolt shape.
Yes.
And then after we've achieved that, we could maybe work on her turning her legs under a more stable upper body.
And I'm going to tell you right now, Laura, I am wildly oversimplifying it today. Okay. Because if I chose, I know she's struggling with her fore aft, got to get her balance over her skis. But if you went straight to fore aft in an exam, they probably would be like, really? Fore aft, you mean the easiest one?
They'd
Right.
probably talk about except fore aft at 1 and 2, but probably not at 3.
Not even at 2. They won't accept it at 2 anymore. They really want to steer you towards the other ones.
Well, I'm sorry. What do you mean they wouldn't accept it? They want you to talk about.
You would
because
have to have the most amazing presentation on the fore aft as a primary skill in order to have passing marks at level 3, because of how the fore aft is embedded with the other skills. And this is not the skier you will be looking at level 3. You will be looking at your fellow candidates.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
Okay, but at a level 2 situation, the fore aft this is the problem.
I'm going to tell you right now, it better be amazing.
So depending on
Because
your
it's
division,
Yeah.
you may be asked to do fore aft in one of the other skills.
Right.
That's what happens in Rocky Mountain. I'm not as familiar what happens back east, whether you get to pick all of your skills or whether they tell you, but they will have you combine 2 particular skills. They give you one of your MA presentations will involve ski to ski pressure and one will involve fore aft. And then you get to pick the other skill, meaning rotary or edging.
Yeah. So
I'm so sorry. Wouldn't you almost always, if you're doing edging, wouldn't you pick ski to ski and fore aft, you pick rotary? Like, isn't that the
let me make this. I'm going to make this a little bit easier for you. Okay. If you do an exam teach specifically about fore aft, you're already getting downgraded before you even start.
Okay.
Because this is the primary reason why. We can use other tasks to look at the fore aft or address the fore aft at the same time we're doing something else.
Okay.
So let me ask you a quick question. If you have poor fore aft and you lift a ski off the ground and try to do outside ski turns, how well would you do that?
Yes, not well.
No.
Yeah.
If I was trying to do a skate drill and I was trying to lean backwards while I was doing it, how well would I do the skate drill?
Right. I get the idea. So you'd use the other
100%
fundamentals, and then you'll just include the fore aft in that.
Yeah, you will mention to them that, hey, have you noticed that you have to lean forward and kind of be on your toes in order to do this skate drill? Yeah, let's do that while we're skiing. Right? And now I've hit that fore aft without addressing the fore aft directly. Hey, we really need to make sure our ankles are closed all the time, because it's such a simple thing for us to do and address it through other skills. And I do this in my teach all the time when I'm teaching all the time, right? I'll go, man, this particular person is really struggling with the fore aft piece, but if I make them stand on one ski, or if I do, outside ski turns, or if I, do pivot slips or things like that, things that are really will show him what I'm trying to get him to do, and they need to be more balanced in the middle of ski in order to accomplish them. I've done 2 tasks at the same time. Hey, notice that you're a little bit more pointed down the hill as you turn your skis away from you. And hey, notice that you're not moving forward or backwards, you're going sliding. So that means you're balanced over the skis, right? So we can attack fore aft in a lot with using all the other fundamentals, because we have tasks for that. Does that make sense? But I'm wildly oversimplifying it today for effect, because this particular person really is struggling with that fore aft part. And I need them to get into a more balanced position, right? So I'm going to use one of these IDP tasks, not one of these, but well, I'm going to let you guys choose. What would be a good task, knowing that this person, oh, somebody's in a, oh, Joanne's got to go. Knowing that this person is going to be going into the bumps, what would be a good task for them to do that will allow them, A, to be more balanced and address maybe a secondary fundamental?
So to Dion's point earlier about the student wanting to be better in the bumps and then really not being ready to be in the bumps, but if you want to be successful with them, you better damn well take them into the bumps.
We'll take them into small bumps. We're not going to take them to, we're not taking them outhouse. We're not taking them to, we're going to go over here to jibber jabber bumps that are like 50 yards long and they're not very big, and we can get some success.
So what I was going to suggest is this is a great example of take her into some really easy bumps and work on her flexion and extension up and down those bumps.
Cool.
And that gives her that, what we're talking about, also keeping her fore and aft, Rabbi, is by flexing and extending, she's going to have to move forward. She's going to move fore and aft, flexing and extending. And it's not necessarily on the sheet of tests, but they're skiing. They're doing what they want to do.
Funny enough, I think it is. We're not calling it quite that. I mean, we could turn it into a Garland drill, right?
Right.
But there is a straight run in. There's supposed to be a straight run in here, but you know, any of the tasks that we do in any of the exams, and a straight run is one of those, or a side hill run would be one of them. And I've got a couple of questions to be right to you. So that would be a way that she could feel how to get this to happen, right? We would call that like it'd be like a turn track or something like that, like a bump track. I got 3 of you now. All right, Laura, you had yours up first.
Okay, I got a little nervous with the discussion of you can't do 4F. So I understand. So the only part of my level 2 I still have to teach is MA. Right. And what I was told for MA, but maybe it's changed now, is hold on, I can lower my hand. Is that for MA, you do one of your analyses is going to be on 4F combined with rotary.
Right.
And the other MA is going to be ski to ski and edging. And then when you talk about yourself, it's probably easiest to just follow that pattern as well.
Yeah,
so
it would be probably
we are supposed to still do 4F, right?
Yes. Okay. That's part of the MA. Remember, we're not in the subjective part. We're not choosing about what we're trying to do or creating or the copying part. We're now in this is what we're seeing with this person do, right? So 4-aft is a big deal. You need to be able to address the 4-aft. Does that make sense? You know, it's when you get to the teaching part of the exam,
right?
That if you just go break right out and say, hey, let's go do this 4-aft drill in level 3, you're starting in a giant hole and you're just trying to dig yourself out and it's not going to work, right?
I got my teaching for level 2 and level 3 is like way far away.
Let's get you through the MA and you're going to
That's all I need is that.
Get that silver pin, right? Gonna get this pin right here. This beautiful silver pin. I got one here for you. I got a couple of them here for you. So, Alex or Kelby, you had your hand up next.
Yeah, so I just am going to throw in my 2 cents here and want to ask you what you would think about this. What about, since Emily is already doing, I'm just going to say a crappy Wedge Christie.
Yeah.
What about refining her Wedge Christie and talking about the different parts of the turn and the duration, rate, and timing, and getting her to feel that outside ski sooner in her Wedge Christie, and then take it into like a patience turn or a basic parallel. So she's getting the feeling of getting to that outside ski, and then secondary, rotating both of the skis together.
Cool. How would you explain that to her that she would understand?
Well, if she's a software engineer, I would talk about, how do you computer program? What's the, God, I suck. What's the,
It's early in the year. We'll forgive you this time.
what's the first part of the equation or the language that you
How
have
would we
to write?
how would we change this algorithm so that we would have the action happen sooner up here instead of way down here at the end? Maybe I want the result to happen up here higher, or we could simplify it so it happens higher up here instead of down there. Yeah.
Yeah. So basically have her put together the equation or the language that she uses the most and break down that language into part of the parts of
Cool. Like it. Like it. Now you're relating to her and you're giving her something that she can understand. Cool. Alex, you had your hand up. Alex is bored. He's got to teach now.
This one would be kind of a hard one, maybe, but I would try doing a hockey stop with a double pole plant, kind of in a retracted position, most flexed at as she finishes her hockey stops, just so she can feel herself get over to her outside ski and get small towards the end of the turn, and then try to time it through there so she doesn't move inside too quick.
Cool. Yeah, we got all day with her, right? Yeah, I don't think that's a wrong answer. I mean, how would we translate that into turns into bumps?
Ideally, when she's able to get that movement going, just talking about I would change it into a pivot slip, trying to a retracted pivot slip, concentrating on having her extend as her legs go out and then flex as she finishes the turn, with keeping her upper body down the hill, and then take it into the bumps.
Yeah, so we don't have to do the whole hockey stop. We could do like a hockey slides, pivot slides, and that would help her get balanced because we could make her do it in a lane. So she wouldn't be, she'd have to be able to be more underneath her to get the feet underneath her seat instead of allowing her to kind of drift forward. Yeah.
The only thing with starting the pivot slip motion right away is I feel like that would be too many things at once for her.
It would. I honestly believe it would.
So why not start with side slipping?
Yes.
Yeah.
Good.
Sorry, I couldn't find the way how to raise my hand. I only can raise my hand like this.
Oh.
Just like I don't see it on my screen.
I think you have to click on the 3 buttons and then I don't see it either.
Anyway, I don't see it. Anyway, so I wonder what we used to talk about athletic stance. Since she has never taken a lesson, she doesn't. Maybe I would assume she wouldn't heard. She hasn't heard about that. And I would do some quick static routine without skis on flat surface, just to explain static stance, to explain the rotation of leg rotation, where it's coming from, and why this is important.
Cool. That would be a start. What else would you do? Where would you go from there?
From that, I would talk about after back and forth, aft and fore, and why this is happening, and why ankle flexion is important, and how to achieve dynamic flexion of 3 joints: knee, ankles, knees, and hips.
Okay.
And why this is important.
We got to do stuff.
And so then we start with wedge turns.
Cool.
And where we work on the pressure control and the weight distribution, center of mass.
Good. So we would have go into wedge turns, and then where would you go from wedge turns? Would we go into bumps and wedge turns?
No. She's already doing wedge crease, and then we could progress to that wedge Christie, which she was already doing, but in a more controlled and proper way.
Okay. So what would she feel I like this, where this is going. What would she feel? What would you point out to her in the wedge turns that allow her to get that grip that she needs earlier in the turn so that when she goes to the wedge Christie, she can still achieve that?
On the wedge turn, pressure on outside ski and rotation.
Yeah, well, the rotation's given. So we're now looking at the outside ski, how the ski is starting to push us into the turn. We're getting a grip, and the grip is starting to make us skis turn, right?
Right, and
So we're gonna, when we go to the wedge Christie, we want to do the same thing. We want to slide it out and then allow that ski to push us.
And the wedge Christie, that by maintaining pressure on outside ski, should be able to easily bring the inside ski to a parallel.
Cool. Cool. Yeah. Now you've put a progression together, right? Explained what we're going to do. We're explaining why we're doing it. Then we're going to go do it, and then we're going to reinforce all that with the same thing. Hey, why are we doing this again? We'll make sure feel the fronts of the boots so that we can feel the outside ski push against us to make these turns, and then we're going to do that in the bumps. By the way, there's nothing wrong with doing wedges in the bumps. Easy bumps, not great big, mean, horrible outhouse bumps. Right, you drop 4 feet on every turn. But easy little moguls. I call it like flying the plane through the mountains. Right, it's really easy and fun to do. Find those like little 8 and 10 mogul sets where they can really get a feel for flying and letting the deflection happen off of the bump to help them turn this way, and it's really easy to do in a wedge position. So there's nothing wrong with doing wedges in the bumps. I got that from Jonathan Blue, by the way. Jonathan Blue said, hey, I understand that the conditions might dictate that we might have some wedges in the bumps. Don't feel bad about that. And this was in the RMT entrance exam. So it happens to all of us, right? Sometimes the conditions are not there.
Jim Shaw said the wedge Christie was the most useful turn you can know how to make because you can do it anywhere.
You can do it anywhere. Yeah.
The cirque, the steepest stuff you've ever seen, trees, wedge Christie it up.
Yeah. Wedges Christies and stem Christies are awesome. Awesome tools. All right. Hey, it's 8:30, everyone. Any questions? Did you guys get what you wanted out of tonight? Was I successful? Does this make sense? David was just getting ready to say something, but he didn't. I'm scanning all the faces.
Yeah.
Who's ready to go skiing?
Oh, yeah.
That's why I'm pissed off at Kat, because she went without. Well, I'm not a woman, so I can't go to an all-women's summit if I'm not.
So I just want to ask you, when we get ready for when the level 2, the MA, you're saying we're going to be doing 4F rotation or pressure and edging combinations. Is that correct?
Usually you get to choose. Okay. There are some examiners that will just tell you, hey, you're going to be doing edging and you're going to be doing ski to ski pressure. Hopefully
but you're saying don't lead the conversation off with 4F.
Well, no, not in MA. That's in the teach.
Oh.
In MA, you're required to talk about MA. You're required to talk about 4F all day long.
Okay.
Okay, because it's vitally important. We don't get to ignore it. The problem is when we go to the teach, because it's so easily handled by other tasks that are related to other skills that it doesn't even register anymore. They're sick and tired of listening to it, right? So they want you to actually explore the other fundamentals
in the teach.
And then show us how you incorporated that particular skill back into the teach, but in more of a secondary way, not in a primary way. Hey, we're going to talk about edging today, so we're going to go out and we're going to do some railroad tracks. But one of the things that are required for the railroad tracks is that we have to be balanced over our skis. So we're going to go do some arcs first that are going to allow us to be balanced on the skis, and we're going to get the ski on edge, on a high edge. That's going to allow us to come around. And the only way we can do that is to be balanced with the ski under the feet under our seats. Address fore aft without addressing fore aft.
Yeah.
Right?
Okay.
So now I could take that and put that aside, and I can start concentrating on the tipping motions. Right?
I get that now. And I was getting confused.
Unless somebody comes down and they're really wildly unsuccessful because they're sitting back. And then you got to say, hey, man, remember that feet under the seat thing we were talking about? Let's go do a couple of more arcs and really get that feeling before we go back in and try to do railroad tracks.
All right.
Okay? And trust me, when you're teaching, it's the exact same thing. Got to get the feet under the seat, allow us to do other things, because I really need to concentrate on you to get outside ski pressure. And none of that's going to happen unless we're balanced over our skis.
Okay.
If they don't have them ordered in a specific way, except for number one, which is fore aft, that is the number one priority, but it's the one that's the most easily addressed. Does that make sense?
Oh yeah, totally. I was just confused with the MA or I thought you were talking about the MA.
No. In MA, they're going to make you talk about ankle, knees, and hips.
Yeah. That's right. And we've done that so much with you. I was like, what? I'm misunderstanding something.
No. By far, it's only for the teach part of it. That's the only thing we're talking about is for the teach.
Okay.
Yes. All right. Any other questions? Now that I've thoroughly confused half the people.
I have a request.
Yeah, go ahead.
Could we start doing some breakout rooms and so everyone can practice MA?
Yeah, let's go back to that. We did that last year, like quite a bit, didn't we? About this time of year. So let me set that up for next week, and we'll set out some breakout rooms, and we'll get started on that. One of the things I will ask is if you know of anybody who is interested in this group, let's get their names in the email system, because we're getting into we're not quite in the ski season, but when it starts in Ember or ends in Ember now, I really feel like it's ski season's like right around the corner. And there are going to be some folks that I'm sure that are going to could probably use this. And Dion, did you get accepted as the training manager for Winter Park this year?
I did not.
You did not?
They hired from outside. They hired an ex-training manager, I believe, from Park City. His name is Shannon.
Oh, no, I meant training supervisor.
As far as I know.
Okay.
According to Tony, I have the job, but I haven't gotten the letter yet.
Well, you better go buy him a bottle of wine real quick.
No, not quite yet.
Alcohol greases the wheels. Christmas is coming, by the way. I got a bottle already picked out for you.
Uh-oh, now I got to go shopping for you, Gumby. Damn it.
No. All that comes from up. It doesn't go down. It all comes up. All right, cool. I'm going to end the